Hello and welcome to the Rob Burgess Show. I'm of course your host, Rob Burgess. On this, our 299th episode, our guest is Julie Cruse. Hailed as a pioneer of computational choreography by Dance Magazine, Julie Cruse is a writer, inventor, instructional designer, content strategist, and former academic with an MFA and MA. Spanning 2 decades, her educational innovations have served 4 Ivy League, 4 public, and 2 community colleges. Her distinctions include 30-plus grants and honors, a National Science Foundation Fellowship, and recognition as Outstanding Alumni in Innovation. A first-generation student and creator of VICKi, patent pending, the world's first choreographic software, Cruse has turned her own story into a movement for transparency and survivor solidarity through academicabuse.com. Her new book, The Burn List, a Memoir of Abuse from Home to Higher Education, was published in March. And now on to the show.
So I'm Julie Cruse, author of The Burn List, a Memoir of Abuse from Home to Higher Education, and most recently the founder of academicabuse.com. I guess like Cliff Notes, spent 12 years in higher education as a student, largely pursuing media arts and sciences in some form or another, mostly related to pedagogy. And fun fact, in 2007, I was, I guess you could say, like a mother of simulated AI for dance. A funny thing. As an aside. And what's interesting is that the book really charts how that invention was appropriated and my career was derailed as one theme in the book due to what I would say is systemic misogyny. And then I spent the better part of a decade, about a little over a decade, working in higher education and centers for teaching and learning, predominantly as an instructional designer, or, something related to, I think at one point I was the creator of a lab called Oberlin College Media Center, and that was to integrate creative arts and technology across disciplines, and I did that for 3 years. And then I moved to University of Washington, where at first I led a team of staff and students that delivered productivity, instructional, and creative media related workshops and stuff like that. And then I moved into a theater for change role and all this. I did a lot of stuff at UW. And then I left higher ed because of the experiences that I had that basically soiled the experience for me forever. And now I am, I guess they call me a senior storyteller and content strategist. So that's kind of fun. And yeah, and I do all this other stuff here on the side.
Right. And I'm about a third of the way through your book, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty harrowing. I mean, you lived it, you wrote it, but it's a lot to take. But I mean, for people that kind of don't know your background, you really had a tough roll of the dice there just to begin with. So I don't know how much you want to say. I never know how much to say about people's work. I don't know how to, how much you want to keep, to the side, but anything you can tell people to kind of give a flavor of the kind of trials and tribulations you had to go through.
Well, I'm going to say this. When I chose to write this book, it was very much deliberately to kind of step out of what I call Clone Julie, which is really what I kind of consider to be a nickname for the performance of someone who's had a pretty decent life, someone who's a normal person. And by most stretches of the imagination, I think even as you've read, you can pretty quickly put the pieces of the puzzle together. This girl is not normal. Yeah. So, and it's no fault of my own. The long and short of it, basically grew up in a tremendously violent home, and was displaced repeatedly throughout childhood due to predators that snuck into our home and did terrible things, and a negligent set of parents and a largely negligent family. Um, Luckily, some neighbors intervened and kind of gave me a life raft here and there. But throughout all of that, my North Star was really like, okay, I'm going to get scholarships and I'm going to get out of this hellhole and I'm going to have a better life for myself. And I somehow or other managed to succeed at that despite on and off homelessness as a child and poverty to a very terrible extent, like, barely eating at all any day of the week. Um, and working multiple jobs to try to take care of myself and then trying to compete with all the other, like, I keep using this word today for some reason, normal kids who were like stacking their resumes, with all the extracurriculars. And I did that too. And so then I get a scholarship and I go to college, and it's this whole story, pretty much like this whole book just unfolds, that it was nothing at all like what I expected, and in fact perpetuated much of the same violence that I experienced growing up, and um, really just shocked me. And um, I learned that I wasn't the only one, that it was a systemic issue. And I think now what I would say is that it really bothers me that I'm one of the only people trying to speak up about this in any kind of real public way, because it's an open secret. Like, everyone knows this is going on. And even colleagues of mine that I'm close with have really contributed to keeping it covered up because it's dangerous to speak out. So right now I'm kind of the lone wolf, speaking out on the subject and really trying to like model that it's safe to do so, or that it can be if we all do it. But I, for one, I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm just like, no, the more you guys turn a blind eye, the louder I'll get. That's kind of how I am now.
What are some, just for so people understand, what are some of these, because there's some habitual line stepping here among people in the book that should know better, in positions of authority. So I don't know how detailed you want to get, but what kind of ethical lines are being trampled upon that people need to understand?
Yeah. Well, I think in my experience, the protected classes are just raked over the coals. And I'm talking women, people of color, at risk, differently abled, neurodivergent, lower class. It They're really just getting raked over the coals. And it's because once they get into a specific program, like a department, faculty are not, and I'm not going to speak for all faculty, but I will say that I have never seen a department where there wasn't somebody laying around who was up to no good, or more than one somebody, and multiple other people's just kind of helping cover it up, because the politics make doing anything about it a risk of professional suicide. So really nobody does that. Um, but I mean, I've seen things where professors are holding back students of color, penalizing them academically in ways that they shouldn't be punished, just because of their race. I've seen them do it to other faculty. I've seen the same things happen to female students, especially with sexual harassment, sexual misconduct. And I've even seen professors like encouraging it and like patting each other on the backs when it's done and kind of like laughing about it. Um, and all the while, it's like ruining these students' careers. It's ruining their academics. It's ruining their futures. And I've seen it not only in my own life experience, but in others who are around me. Like, they just can't even be in their own field anymore. Like, they completely exit. And this is after they've paid all the money to go to college for this field, and they've gone and they've attended. And I think I try to give like one example, just, just to because like when I talk really broadly, it's hard to understand what that looks like on the ground. But for example, in my PhD program, I had a male colleague come to my apartment, like crying and hyperventilating. And he was a grad student. And he was telling me that his advisor had tried to solicit him to sexually harass female students in the program and had tried to get him to engage in it as well. And this male student refused to engage. And then thereafter was blatantly harassed, like had paychecks withheld. And it was the kind of thing like before he showed up, I had already seen that harassment to the to the extent that it would happen in front of us in class, like us and other students, because he was the TA. And we would just look at each other and be like, God, what the hell is going on with this guy? Why is he doing that to him? You know, like, so we had all seen it and we were all aware that it was happening. But that was the first time that I understood why, was because he didn't participate in that professor's agenda to harass female students. So he was punished for not kind of going into the boys club. And I like in retrospect, I think that was kind of that professor's way of being like, you know, I see potential in you and want you to join the ranks. How about we sexually harass other students together? And that student said no. And that meant that it was time to, you know, drive him out because now he's a liability, right? So that's just one example. Like and you're reading my book now, so you know about the things that I've experienced. You know, I've been strangled by a male professor. I've been coercively raped repeatedly by male professors. I've had my family threatened by one professor to try to keep me silent. And ultimately, my chosen career was completely derailed. I was just completely derailed out of my field. And I deal with impacts to this day psychologically over what happened. You know, I just had a nightmare last night about it all that kind of ruined my day. So I watched Game of Thrones all day to kind of cope. You know, like just watch these guys duke it out and I'll feel better. But yeah, it's not pretty what's going on. And I do think it needs to be discussed. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going on. And it might keep going on even after I talk about it, but we'll see.
How much of what you observed and experienced do you think still goes on, or how much do you think it was, you know, because I mean, this wasn't that long ago that these things happened, but you know, this is pre Me Too, obviously,
Yeah.
and a lot of the things that you're writing about. You know, a lot of people, I feel like in that era were kind of hiding in plain sight, or they were, you know, it was kind of part of their, you know, public persona that they were kind of a lech. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I was talking with my wife about this. She read a book about a person that was suit or like whatever the junior chef is to chefs, and one of the people they were a junior chef to was Mario Batali, and obviously he got taken away later. But you know his whole kind of persona was that he was kind of this just bore, but like he was even worse than people
Yeah.
saw in public, obviously behind closed doors. But how much, I guess, how much is different would you say now? How much has changed in between these two time periods, do you think?
Wow. Well, considering that I literally just resigned from higher ed in late 2023 over the the level of harassment that I experienced, I don't think it's changed at all. At all. Um, because higher ed has a very, very special ability to keep things covered up and to keep the machinery of abuse running. It's unbelievable how much leeway they have to get away with it, how hard it is to hold them accountable, how good they are at destroying public records and then destroying evidence that they destroyed public records. Like they're very, very good at it. And they've been doing it for a long, long time. So as much as I want to say that post Me Too, it got better, I know for a fact that it hasn't. I mean, even after I resigned, I filed a Title IX complaint against one of the first professor to coercively rape me. I finally filed that Title IX complaint, probably because I left and I finally felt like I could, you know. And even in that Title IX process, post Me Too in 2024, I had witnesses that were faculty at the time who knew what happened, all close ranks and lie, and just flat out lie. And I mean, I had evidence that I had told them, and they still lied and said, oh, well, she never told me. And because they know that they're mandatory reporters, right? And if you're a mandatory reporter and you don't report, you're supposed to get in trouble for that. But even after that Title IX investigation concluded in my favor, because he resigned, I think he figured out like I had enough evidence that he should probably resign. They never held any of those mandatory reporters accountable. Like they were just like, yeah, we don't see any evidence of any need for further corrective action. And I'm like, so basically you're saying that mandatory reporters don't really need to report. So, I mean, that's what's going on. This is 2024. And actually that case concluded, was it 2024 or 2025? I think it might have been early 2025. I can't quite remember. Oh, actually, it had to have been 2025 because I was still publishing my book and the case hadn't concluded by the time I had my final manuscript going to the printer. So yeah, it was 2020. That's last year. And that's what's going on. So yeah, definitely still going on.
What is it, do you think, about higher ed that makes it particularly susceptible to this? Obviously, there's other institutions, Catholic Church,
Mm-hmm.
Penn State football. I mean, you go down the
Mm-hmm.
line. Anytime there's an unaccountable internal hierarchy that has a vested interest in protecting itself, obviously these dynamics come into play. But what do you think it is about higher ed in particular that makes it particularly susceptible to that?
Well, I think you said it yourself, what you say that internal hierarchy invested in protecting itself. I think we're something like that, where your
Yeah.
words might have gotten them, maybe not in the
No,
right
that's
order.
fine.
But
I don't even remember what I say half the time, so that sounds all right.
yeah, well, I mean, it's an incredibly hierarchical system built on dependency. So at every level, people are dependent upon somebody above them. So if you're a student, you're dependent upon your faculty for your grades, for your degrees, for your letters of recommendation. And that dependency stays with you even after you graduate because you need a letter of recommendation, you know? And and then if you're in grad school or you're in a PhD, you're even more dependent upon your advisor who's going to pass or fail your dissertation or your thesis, right? And oftentimes, when the higher you climb into academia, the more insular it becomes, like the more well known a certain professor is because of their quote unquote expertise in their field. Like they become, well, tenure makes people indispensable,
Yeah, I
right?
was going to bring up tenure. I think that has to be part of it. I would think, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they keep climbing the ranks. So you join in, you're whatever, a TA, and then you're an adjunct, and then you're assistant professor, and all these steps have people over you that you need to get to the next level. So if you're assistant professor, you need everyone around you to endorse you getting to the level of an associate professor. Committees weigh in on this. And then when you're an associate professor, you need committees to weigh in on you becoming a full professor, you know? So it's like this whole system built on like loyalty, basically. And that really, really protects people, whether they deserve it or not.
Right. I mean, the good thing, I guess, would be that then that allows, I mean, on the intellectual side, allows people to speak freely and explore, potentially divisive topics without worrying about losing their job. And then, of course,
Theoretically,
I mean, yes, right. We've
it
not always seen it work out that way, but in theory, I would guess that's the best possible version of that, right?
that's what they say, right? Like that's what they
Mm-hmm.
say, but you can there's always been agendas in like what thoughts are discussed and how they're discussed
Mm-hmm.
and what how do I say this? Like what ideologies or what um quote unquote facts or data are the like rightest, the most correct. Because there are stakes in it. It becomes territory in higher ed. And this is what I've learned. Like I wish it were about free exchange of ideas. And some professors are very, very good at enabling that. Some of them are, some of them really live up to that. But I have seen it be abused where a certain professor will treat the dialogue as territory that they control. Like this is my field. This is my area of research. This is my area of expertise. And if you don't parrot what I'm telling you is the case, then you become a liability to me. Like, why am I going to pass you up to the next level when you've become a research threat? Like, if you're arguing with me and my idea is the right idea that I get paid to argue, then you've become a threat to me. Right. So, like, it's really not as idealistic. Tenure is not really used as idealistically as higher ed claims that it was designed to be used. I think it really kind of works as like a protection racket.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disgusting to me. It's disturbing.
So, I mean, obviously you have a right to your own experiences, so you can say what you want about your own life, but you do talk about other people in the book, and
Mm.
I can't imagine that many of the people that you write about less flatteringly are would be happy with that. What care did you take to disguise identities or change names or identifying details so that I guess first of all that you wouldn't get sued, and then I guess secondly, if you ever had any hope of not that you ever want to reconcile with some people, but maybe down the line, if people have time to reflect on their actions. I don't know. How did you think about that writing about your own life? I've run into problems writing about my own life. I haven't done much of it, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
every time I do, and the person's around to read it, like it's a roll of the dice how
It's
they're gonna
hard.
feel about it. It's like
It's hard.
not even when I'm trying to like be like writing like some big expose. It's just like my perception of them and their actions isn't how they perceive themselves, and therefore they're hurt by my
Yeah.
description of it. And I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm never writing about my life again.
I mean, I struggled with that. I struggled with that deeply because, and I say a couple things, one thing in the beginning of the book and one thing at the end. One of the things I talk about in the beginning is that I did make attempts to reconcile with pretty much everyone in the book that I discussed before I wrote the book. Like, I made those efforts hoping that I would have a better ending to my book. Like I wanted to give them that chance. Like, what are you going to do when I confront you about this lovingly even and give you that like long leash of forgiveness and acceptance? Like, what are you going to do? How can you make this story one that is one of reconciliation? I wanted that, I genuinely wanted that. I did not get it. So I addressed that up front. And then I think with regard to how I feel about these people, this is what I say at the end of the book. You would think that I have nothing but like hatred and resentment for my abusers, but that is not true. In fact, it's like I still care about all of them. And there's some funny psychology behind like the dynamics of abuse that go into that. Like it's rarely a situation where someone just comes up and abuses you and it's outright abuse right away. No, you're usually conditioned. You're usually groomed. You're usually like some sort of amicable relationship is created and then exploited so that you will accept the abuse, right? So, and then if you go back to, and this is part of why I included my childhood, because I wanted to show like how I was uniquely susceptible to abuse in higher ed. Because, like, if my mother was abusing me or allowing abusers to abuse me, like people come into the home and do things to me and my children, and I'm not my children, my siblings, I'm biologically hardwired to love my parents anyway, and yet they're abusing me, right? So if I'm biologically hardwired to love my caretaker and my caretaker is abusing me or allowing abuse to happen to me, then when I grow up and I encounter abuse that's not from my parents, I'm already hardwired to accept it. I've been conditioned to tolerate it, to accept it, because I'm hardwired now to love my abuser, right? And that happened to me, and it's deeply disturbing. And I have a lot of fucking PTSD from it. I'm, you know, cognitively dissonant all day, every day. And that's why I'm on medications. And I think writing this book helped me recognize that and start to unpack it and process it. I don't know if I'll ever heal. Like maybe that's out of the question. But how I dealt with identities was being honest with myself about that, right? Like I don't have animosity for these people that harmed me. And I definitely don't have animosity for other victims. And I did consult other victims and ask, like, is it okay if I write about what happened with you? And what pseudonym, if any, would you want? That for those that I had enough contact with, like for family members, I knew that they were never going to approve of what I was doing. And I had to kind of choose myself over them, realizing, like, okay, well, I'm the one that's been taking care of me for all these decades, not you. So I'm going to take care of me again. And you don't get to stop me from taking care of me. I'm going to write my story. And I did it with as much like compassion as I could. And for that reason, I omitted a lot, like a lot. I omitted a lot. Um, but yeah, like I don't claim to be an all-knowing narrator. In fact, I think I've said that I'm an unreliable narrator in some ways because I was being like gaslit and didn't figure it out until so many years later, you know? So I own up to that in the book. I hope that answers your question. Like I don't position myself as like a grandiose know-it-all in a way. Like I'm just like, this is how it felt for me when these things were happening.
Well, I could talk to you about a lot of these things for a long time, but I see that we're up against the time here. So, in the next minute or so, is there anything else we didn't talk about that you want people to know about this book?
Well, I just thank you for having me here and asking hard questions that, I think need to be asked, and I'm glad that they were asked. Yeah, I I commend you for sticking around with the book for this long because I know it's not an easy read.
It's not a bad book. It's just you're like, when is the narrator going to catch a break here? Like,
yeah. Spoiler alert. I never really do,
Oof.
but I get better at recognizing it and
Okay.
steering clear of it. But
Gotcha.
and so for those of you listening in my last 20 seconds, the good news is I do figure some shit out and I do tell you what I figure out. And my goal in the book and telling you what I figure out is to spare you from ever having to go through that again if you've already gone through it, or to spare you from going through it at all. So um look forward to that. And also I share my top 3 strategies for navigating a hostile work environment. They're in there. So but but they're not, you're not going to be able to skip to them. Don't think I made it that easy for you. You have
Okay.
to hang out. You
All
have to
right.
read.
We're still going through it. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for taking the time. One question I ask before we go, though, is what
Mhm.
music have you been listening to lately?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. I am in New Orleans and there's a lot of hip hop around here.
Nice. I was just in New Orleans. I loved it.
Oh, were you?
I busked at the French Market with my ukulele.
Did you? Oh my God, when?
Let's see, it was March. So I'm a journalist. I cover the wealth management industry, and they have these conferences across the country. And one of the conferences I go to regularly now is called the T3 conference, which is technology tools for today. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
this year it was in New Orleans, and I'd never been to New Orleans before. And the last couple of times I've gone on these work trips, I play guitar, ukulele, and bass,
Aw.
but I really am only able to travel very well with a ukulele, and even then it's a little bit harrowing. But anyway, so I bring my ukulele with me and I record it, and I've got some episodes of the podcast where I have that, including the one in New Orleans. So I'll send that one to you. But
Oh, please. Yeah.
anyway, I did that at the French Market, and it was really fun. I liked it. The French Market was really cool.
Yeah, that I love going to see the buskers in the French Quarter. That's one of my favorite things to do
Oh
down
yeah.
here. My partner, who's lived here for like almost 30 years, he's like, I don't want to go down there because he used to bring a typewriter down to the quarter and
Oh
like
wow.
write poetry for people.
Nice. Yeah, people have got all sorts of little, fortune telling. I feel like, yeah, anything you can think of, people have got caricature drawing. Yeah, it's all going down.
That's what I love about it.
Hmm.
That is what I love about it.
It was cool. Yeah, I think more cities should be more welcoming to that kind of stuff. It really adds to the ambiance to have that kind of street performing culture in a city is really cool. But not
Well, to what was it? Answer your question. You asked me
yes,
what
back
I'm
to
listening
back to
to.
the question. You said hip hop, and then I was interested in hearing more because I like hip hop
I
too.
have, yeah, well, I'll have to send you a list of some stuff, but I've got some interesting ones that I have like a writing soundtrack that I'll
Ah,
put on when I
okay.
need to really feel things,
Interesting.
um, or just cope with things. Um, so there's one that is like kind of my go-to when I really feel like I can't do this anymore.
Mhm.
I'll put on All My Life by Burna Boy and Lil Durk featuring J. Cole. And it's just you have to hear it to understand. But then for more like writing that is like not to hear lyrics and stuff, I'll put on there's a video game called Hollow Knight Silk Song. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-mm, no.
Oh man. Oh man, Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games of all time, but they just released a sequel like a year ago called Silk Song. And there's some amazing music in that game. So sometimes I'll just put the soundtrack on for Hollow Knight Silk Song. Other times I'll do I know I'm such a nerd. Sometimes I'll also put on the soundtrack for a video game called Celeste, which is so badass. Oh my
Hmm.
God. But to really throw some flavor at you on my bad days, don't take this the wrong way, but on my bad days, there's a song by Matmos called Tracked for Valerie Solanos. And that one that one keeps me going sometimes. So
Gotcha. I'll have to check those
yeah.
out.
I'll send you. I have your email address now, so I'll
Okay.
send them over to you if you
Okay.
have some entertainment while the kids are sleeping.
Please. Yeah, yeah. Is it okay if I post that on the episode if you send the list over?
Oh yeah, you can totally do
Okay,
that. You got to
great.
send me your ukulele this stuff though
I
too.
will. Yeah, I
Have to
don't
see it.
I just do covers for now. I'm still working up the courage to write songs on my own. Although my friends I play music with are great songwriters, so I'm always envious of them. This is not a skill set I've learned how to hone quite yet, but
Okay, I'm going to challenge you on that, Rob, because, okay, first of all, I have to ask you, are you down in New Orleans often?
I would no, I've never been before this last time I
Oh,
went. I would love to go back though. It was so much fun. So,
let me know the next time you're here. And
okay.
then, second of all, I'm going to give you my favorite trick for making anything.
Okay.
Anything.
All right.
The trick is to find what's stopping you.
Hmm.
Like, go to what's stopping you and write about that
Hmm.
because
I think
something is stopping you.
I think it's my lack of grasp of general music theory is probably starting the first one. I'm good at I can read tab and chords and stuff, but then when we start getting to the different scales, my brain starts going to sleep. I'm really trying to concentrate when I'm reading a book about music theory now, and I read a book about songwriting, and just the nuts and the bolts. It's just it's so there's so much to know. It's so difficult, and I don't know how people figure out what that next chord is going to be because I'm just like, how did you know to do that? Like,
Oh,
if you
well,
show me how to do it, I'll do it. But like, I'm like,
okay,
I'm
but
still
no,
working. Yeah.
I'm calling BS on you there too. I'm calling BS on you there too because I'm self-taught in music. Um,
Yeah, and you said your book, you said you're playing piano, and I'm like, oh great, yeah, she's got to know music theory then.
no, I don't know it at all. If you put music in front of me, I can't read it, but I can play the fuck out of some shit on the piano because it doesn't like, I don't consider playing an instrument technique. I consider it playing.
Hmm.
It's playing. Like
Yeah,
you're playing with it, you're discovering things. Like you'll hear something and you go, I like that.
yeah.
And then you'll keep going. You'll be like, well, what does this go well with? Well, let me try
Hmm.
some other stuff. You might try 20 things and then you find like one thing and you're like, no, I like that.
That's
And then
true.
it's like, why do I like that? Well, it resonates with something. Well, what is the thing that it resonates with?
Hmm.
Oh, this thing that I feel. Well, what do you feel? Why do you feel it? Write it down.
Hmm.
Like,
No,
so
yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I definitely just need to put myself out there and do it. But yeah, it's so hard because I'm so envious when my friends especially write good songs, and I'm like, oh, how did you do that? Like that seems like
they
a
weren't
man.
thinking. They
That, yeah,
probably weren't
right.
thinking
No,
about it. They
right.
were probably
No, I
like,
know.
okay, I need to get some shit off my chest.
Yeah, that's
You
a good
know,
point. Yeah.
you
And
can
I
ask them.
Yeah, that's true. And I think there's a lot to be said for simplicity too, in terms of like good things. Like good things oftentimes look easy on the outside, but obviously if it was,
But
yeah.
here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. And this from I've done a lot of things that I've taught myself how to do. Writing a book. I never studied how to write a book. I just wrote it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, like I hate referencing this because it's so nerdy. But there's this book by this choreographer called The Creative Habit. I think it's Twyla Tharp's book.
Hmm.
And I get really like, I can't stand name dropping and being academic. So I get really like prickly about it. But it's great because the whole point is that you just generate material.
Hmm.
You just generate material. Like you're never going to make anything if you're trying to make something great.
Hmm.
You're never going to make anything if you're trying to make something perfect. Like you just have to make things. Like you just throw some material out and then pull it together in some way. And so and like 90% of it will be crap.
Hmm.
But because you made, 100 things and 90 of them were crap, you got 10 good things.
Yeah, no, that's a
But if
good
you
point.
made no things, then
Yeah.
you got no things,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm. In my head,
So
I've done so many things. I've just not done the work to get them out and be terrible at it for a while, I
so the
guess.
next time you pick up your ukulele,
Yep.
you're not going to play a cover.
Oh no.
No, you can practice. You can practice as a warm up. You can give yourself like your 10 to 15-minute
Oh.
cover song warm up.
Mm.
And then you spend the
Mm.
next 15 minutes just making things up,
Mm.
just making things up. See, look, I'm still a teacher at heart, which is
I
terrible.
know. You're pushing
Like,
I can feel you pushing me out of my comfort zone. So.
you can do it,
Okay. All right.
you can do it. It's because obviously you can,
Sure, I can make noise. So
right?
yeah, no, I can
Look at
get
me.
through
I'm going on camera for you right now again, so you can see what my expression is when I say this. You
it.
can. You can. You just have to get out of your own way. Get out of
Okay.
your head.
All right. Well, I'll go on video to give you the thumbs up.
Everybody, look behind. Hey, there you are.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Look at this. Behind me are these like electronic keyboards.
Nice.
Right? I don't know what I'm doing. I just pick them up and play with them. Well, they
Mm-hmm.
make beats. I pick a beat and I'm like, oh, that's nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what goes good with that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
around on the keys, like
Mm-hmm.
make it fun for yourself. If you like it, that's what matters.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah. And I don't have to show everyone what I do right away either, I guess. So.
No, no. I wish I had, I used to, I have like all this like chronic pain now, so I don't play guitar anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
watch this old school song from way back in the day. I'm going to sing it
Mm-hmm.
for you. It's going to be funny.
Okay.
And I don't have my guitar with me, so it's just going to be vocals. But just to give you an idea of like, you literally can like make fucking anything, Rob. You can just
Mm-hmm.
make anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. Okay, wait, let me back up a little bit.
All right.
I'm a geek with a heart of gold, like the story goes. Cinderella lost her shoe and now she's walking home. You're the fellow with the cool flow, the kind of smooth joke that a boring gal like me is hardly suited for. La da da da, la
Nice.
da 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 da. And then it's something like I like to look at constellations and think about the sun and how if a comet hit the earth, then we'd become a bunch of shining, glowing particles floating free in form. Maybe on a distant planet, there's a telescope. There's a creature with 1,000 eyes staring at the sky, wondering how a simple speck of dust could shine so bright. I'm a geek with a heart of gold. I just made it up.
Oh, wow.
I just made it up like 30 years ago.
That's cool. That's a good song.
You just make it up.
Okay. All
Just make
right.
it up.
Yeah. No, I've also heard that like if you like someone else's song, you should like use it as a template and then build off of that. I guess. I guess that would. I worry about plagiarizing accidentally doing that, but I can see the utility in at least finding the structure of a song. Because yeah, just sometimes I'll get like a riff or an idea, but I don't know how to like expand it out into a whole song. I guess I don't know. But yeah, I just
That's
need to
because you're
do it.
overthinking it, Rob. Look at me. You can't make music in your head. Some
It's true.
people do it, but if they have, they've been making it with their hands for like 40 years before
That's a
they're
good
like, I
point.
can write it in my head now and
Yeah.
write it in my sleep. Like,
Yeah. That's true.
you need to throw out the manual,
Okay.
throw it out.
All right. Challenge accepted. All right.
All right.
I'll do it.
Make another appointment with me in a month and I'm going to hear what you have. I'm not
Okay.
kidding
You're not
around.
okay. All right. All
I
right.
can't stand seeing people with creative roadblocks. It's like liberate yourself. This is your body. This is your life. Look, you're gonna Rob. Life is short.
Mm-hmm.
Is short.
Mm-hmm.
How many more years do we have left?
How many more days? Who knows? Right.
You know? Do you want your song to never happen because you were so preoccupied with what the like,
Sure. But
like
you're right. It's like I want my thing to be exactly what I imagine it to be. And it's hard to like have it not be that, because like I want it to like come out like Johnny Cash wrote it, but
I know. I
you know what
had
I
a
mean?
feeling
Like,
that that was you. I kind of had this feeling from your like the gears turning in your head that you
yeah,
have some really good inspiration, and that's why because you're holding yourself to this standard that like the music gods,
yeah,
but those guys didn't get there by
I
being
know.
in their head. They
Yeah.
they shat some shit out. You know what I mean? They were just like sitting around, dicking around with their instruments and like saying shit that was on their minds.
Yeah,
It got it on paper and then kind of massaged it and stuff. Like you got to get it out and then massage it. Like you can't, it's not going to come out perfect.
that's true.
Like this
Yeah.
podcast, right? Like that
Hmm.
you do.
Hmm.
You know that you edit it.
Oh yeah,
So you make
absolutely.
it and then you edit it.
Hmm.
It's that book
Yeah.
that's sitting behind me that I wrote. Like I wrote 180,000 words in 6 weeks. And then
Wow.
the whole next year and a half was editing.
Mm.
It's editing. Like you just make stuff and then edit it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't edit a blank page, as they say. So
No,
Yeah.
But the editing is where shit happens. Like if you think of like your Johnny Cash, like one of your favorite songs, how many takes until he got that perfect one with like the rasp and the,
Sure.
you know, the crescendo or the vibrato? Like, you know,
Yeah,
he was listening.
Yeah.
He didn't just come out a rock god.
It always seems that way though, doesn't it? It seems like they just just the classics are just falling out of them left and right, you know. I don't
No,
know. Yeah,
no,
that's not how it works. But
no.
that's a good
So
point.
you should get like a hat, like a special hat.
Mm.
And when like not a fedora. I don't think you're a fedora person. I
I
see
don't
you
think
with
I can pull that off. I mean, I usually
some sort of,
I'm usually rocking this right here, but
all right. Get like your special hat. And like when that hat comes on,
okay.
you know,
Okay. Cool.
I want to
Well,
hear it.
yeah,
I see this beard you're rocking and the mustache
my
stuff going
mutton
on.
chops. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down. That's how I
Okay,
read the
great.
Johnny Cash thing. I'm like, it's in there, man. He's got some
Yeah.
inspiration. So,
Thank you. Cool. Well,
and
this has
you,
been very inspiring. I appreciate it, and I feel yeah, I feel like I could do that. I've been wanting to for so long, and I
hey,
just been holding
here's the
myself
best
back.
thing I can say to you about it.
Hmm.
Make a mess.
Okay, I
Make a
will.
mess and then clean it up.
Okay, there you go.
Just make a mess.
That's a good one. I like it. Awesome. Well, thanks for jumping back. I think the episode's way better now, so that we added this part.
Make a mess and then clean it up. And I'm going to see you I'm telling you,
Okay.
put me on your calendar, not for a podcast, but just to hear you
Okay.
in a month,
June 14th, I'm there.
June 14th.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
Okay. Put me on your calendar.
Thank
I want to
you.
hear the mess that you made, just the mess.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oof. All right. Thank you.
If you can't make a mess between now and then,
I can make a mess. I can make a mess in a month. I think I can do that. That's doable. Oh
all right.
man. All right. Challenge accepted. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm so happy.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right. Well, have a good evening.
You too. Thank you so much. I will talk to you in a month.
I will.
Yay. Okay.
All right.